Most of you have heard me speak many times of Melwood and the fantastic work we do in our community. Melwood offers more than 900 people with disabilities an opportunity through job training, employment, and recreation. Every one of those 900 plus people have a touching story to tell. And with us today, to tell her story, I would like to introduce Ms. Brenda Sheaffer.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Brenda Sheaffer. I work for Melwood at the White House complex. I have a job, I have a security clearance, and my own apartment. I take the Metro Rail and bus to work every day from Laurel, Maryland. I support myself financially. You would probably assume that I am completely independent and can take care of myself. Well, you would be wrong. Behind the scenes, there is a network of support in my life that makes all this happen. Melwood is a big piece of that support. I grew up in Oxon Hill, Maryland. My parents adopted 5 children and I was number 2. As an early childhood teacher, my mother recognized that I was a slow learner and had motor delays. My disability was not immediately picked up in kindergarten. I didn't look like I had a disability. I was polite, quiet, and friendly. I knew my colors and shapes. I could count and say my ABCs. Even talking to me, the teacher didn't recognize right away that I had a disability. But my mom knew. She kept pushing for special education. Adults started coming to school to play games with me. Really, they were testing me. They agreed that I have a learning disability. So after the testing, I was placed in special education classes. Math is my weakness, and although I can read very well, I don't always understand what I've read, nor do I understand things as quickly as other people. I often need my parents to explain some things to me after listening to a conversation or after a meeting. I liked school and worked very hard at learning, but I could never understand numbers. They tried and tried to teach me math, but I just don't understand it. My mother tried to teach me math facts by putting them to music. She also tried having them play while I was asleep. Nothing worked. She also, to this day, I am a first grade level when it comes to math. This was a problem when it came to getting my high school diploma. I went to Oxon Hill High School for 5 years instead of 4. Because I could not pass a functional test, I graduated with a certificate, not with a diploma. A certificate showed that I did not drop out and that I did not give up. And many jobs require a diploma. This affected my ability to get a job. I entered a special training program for people with disabilities. They taught me some job skills, helped me write a resume, and yes, they tried to teach me math. Every program I've ever entered has tried and tried to teach me math. This program sent me to several job sites. I tried food service, did laundry, I worked at a nursing home. I didn't do well at these jobs because I was too slow. And then my mom learned of Melwood. She called and set up an interview for me. Melwood recognized that I wanted a job and was willing to work. So they immediately put me in a custodial training program. Emphasized appropriate work conduct and gave me travel training and encouraged me in every way. Melwood took the time to understand what would work for me, and this has made all the difference. My first assignment was at the National Zoo. A year later, I was assigned to the auditor's building. I soon developed a reputation for being a hard worker. One morning, my mother heard a discussion on WML radio. People were calling in to complain about the federal buildings not being very clean. A government worker at the auditor's building called in and said, "Our building is very clean. We have Melwood working here, and Brenda and Lee do a great job cleaning our floor." I was very proud of that. When Melwood obtained a contract to clean the new executive office building known as the NEOB, I applied for the job and got a security clearance. NEOB is part of the White House complex. I've been there ever since. I vacuum and dust offices, hallways in the conference room, stock the bathrooms, and I work in other areas when help is needed. Since I work in the White House complex, everyone asks me if I ever see the president walking around. No, I never have. But in 2007, I was invited to the White House to meet former First Lady Laura Bush. I had my picture taken with her. Another highlight for me was to make a WTOP radio commercial to ask for vehicle donations to Melwood. At work, people would come up to me and say, "I heard you on the radio today. I am like a celebrity at NEOB." One of the guards even asked me for my autograph. My learning disability affects my everyday life. I don't understand prices or time or measurements on a recipe. I need lots of help in managing my money. And the money I earn goes into my account and then it pays for all the things I need. I also can afford to buy gifts for my family and friends. If I didn't work for Melwood, I could not do all these things or support myself financially and live independently. I would be collecting government benefits. Instead, I am collecting a paycheck and paying taxes. Every Sunday, my mother gives me 5 envelopes with money. Each day I use 1 envelope for lunch. And my dad calls me every morning at 5:30 to wake me up for work. So yes, I do indeed have a learning disability. But Melwood recognized that I have a lot of skills and a good attitude. They accepted me for who I am. The really great thing about Melwood is that they have an umbrella of support. They know about my disability and they support me. I do not have to hide my disability in order to keep my job. If I do not understand something, I have a supervisor I can talk to. I have a place to go in the morning. I have people who need me. 70% of people with disabilities are unemployed in the United States. They need an opportunity to work in a supportive environment. Just because someone has a disability doesn't mean they can't have a job. And just because someone has a disability doesn't mean they can't be a productive member of society. And just because someone might not understand money doesn't mean they don't want any. That's what they imply. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story with you today and how Melwood has helped me become a productive member of society.